Thank you. You could. That was impressive. You have a concussion?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. As we spend our final moments in our RV, we figured what better time to do a tour than the time that you don't live in the RV anymore.
Yeah, if you've been following along on our journey so far, you probably are aware that our RV is totaled due to water damage. If you haven't seen that video already, I will link it down below or somewhere up here, and you can see why our RV is totaled and how we got to where we are now.
Now, we did extensively remodel this RV, so what we're going to highlight in this tour are the things that we've changed. I think you get dishes go in the kitchen and books go in cabinets and things go places. So we're going to focus on what we did and a few things around that. How expensive it was, how difficult it was, and if it was worth it. I think we're going to start with our countertops. So when it came to the cabinets and the countertops, we had a few specific things that we needed. We needed a desk for us both to work at. We wanted to add a fireplace in because this RV did not have one. And we wanted all the countertops to match. For the entertainment center, we actually tore out what was there, rebuilt the cabinet faces, and added a new countertop there. And then what we really focused on was the left side being the entertainment center side and the right side being the fireplace. We really tried to make it be balanced as best as possible. We also added along the back, there were two recliners. We took the recliners, obviously threw them away because they're disgusting, and built 3 new spots and basically made a desk for 2 with a sweet view. So what we did to make everything look cohesive is we did epoxy. I think they turned out incredible. We used them for 5 months. We set hot stuff on it. Nothing caused a mark. There's a little bit of scuffs and things from just basic wear and tear. But the great thing about doing epoxy is as you wear on it and everything and you're ready to resurface it, you just sand it like you did before and repolish it and it's fine. It's perfect. We went a little overboard with it. We not only matched all the countertops down below, we added a side table, and we matched every single countertop surface in the RV with the same thing. All right, so let's break this down. Start with difficulty. This project, I would say, was not very difficult because you can change how extravagant you want it to be. It can be very basic colors, pretty easy, or it can be quite extravagant. Ours personally, we did, I think, about 8 different colors, so it was pretty difficult, especially for the first time doing it. Big thing with it though is it's very intimidating, especially if you've never done it before. So that is a factor. So not difficult, very intimidating. Price, I think it cost us about $800 in total. Maybe a little bit more with the wood and the materials and things. Regardless, significantly cheaper than replacing the countertops and adding a bunch of countertops that weren't here before. That would have been extremely expensive. That probably would have been $2,500, $3,000 to just replace the countertops, plus all the weird cuts and all of that. So much cheaper. Now we did use stone coat countertops. I would say, based on my experience, highly recommend them. I've never used a different kind, so I couldn't tell you otherwise. Stone coat countertops though did not do us dirty. This has been 5 months of hard use. It looks great still. Would we do it again? Heck yeah. In short, I personally loved it.
Now, something I was really happy with that we purchased specifically for this RV was this little table. I found it on Amazon, and we were looking for something to replace the 4-chair dinette that was in this area. We really didn't need 4 chairs for Keith and I, and we already had our desk, so we just wanted something small and simple to be able to sit at. And I didn't realize how many functions this had and how useful it was going to be for us. The little stools were not only great for seating, obviously, but we ended up using them as little end tables on the couch, and also when we would sit down to eat, we would use them as our table in place of TV trays. This table also came with 2 little drawers, which is great because we ended up using them as our junk drawers. So overall, this table ended up being not only our dinner table, but also our TV trays, our junk drawer, and it was super convenient when we were traveling because both of the stools tuck up underneath it, and this lip folds down really nicely to keep everything secure during transit. So let's break this one down. Cost, I will link it down below. I don't really remember how much it was, but I know it didn't break the bank purchasing this. It did obviously cost a little bit extra to do the epoxy and paint it, but we had that on hand. So you can just leave it the way that it comes and it wouldn't cost you any extra, or you need to factor in whatever fun things you're gonna do to make it your own. Difficulty. If you've ever assembled a piece of IKEA furniture, this is not hard. It came with everything you needed in the box. It was all in pieces, but it had that little tool that you twist and stick it all together with the screws. Not an issue. I did this all in one evening by myself. Now, would I do this again? I'd certainly buy this again. And honestly, yeah, if we needed a table like this again, I would 100% paint it, epoxy it, do whatever we needed to do just to have this again. This is a really, really nice table. It was so, so useful for us. Highly recommend.
Now originally this RV had the vinyl and carpet mix standard that 99% of RVs have. And we really contemplated on what we were going to replace it with. We were torn between the vinyl planking and laminate floor. A couple things happened with the vinyl plank. One, I let some Home Depot person who probably didn't know what they were talking about talk me out of the vinyl plank. And two, they didn't really have the color that we wanted. So we went with laminate. That obviously was a mistake because the RV's totaled. So I'm gonna say that was a bad idea. So one of the issues we ran into that we didn't think of was laminate is very thick. And we did look and see that we had clearance. However, we think we underestimated how much clearance we would have with the slides. Now it ended up working out. However, in a couple spots like right here, I could not find what was causing the scraping, but something scraped along here and just basically cut up this portion of the floor. Now we just covered it up, wasn't ultimately that big of a deal, but that is an issue to think about if you're gonna replace the floor. It's how much flooring is gonna go under there. Vinyl is much thinner, and after the fact, after we put this floor in, I did find vinyl that performed in like -30 up to 140 degrees, so it would have been just fine with all the temperature variations and everything. So lesson learned there. Thanks Home Depot, appreciate you. Obviously the other issue we ran into with the flooring is the water. When you're traveling coast to coast, you rapidly change environments. So in our case, we started from the desert, dry, no humidity, all the way to the East Coast where there's humidity within a matter of 2 days, and flooring doesn't like to acclimate that fast. And then obviously when you have the whole toilet overflow for 9 hours, it didn't like that either, I don't know. So let's break this down. Difficulty. If you're replacing the floor, it's gonna be difficult. It's far more difficult than just doing a house because you have different factors like getting it partially under the slide, dealing with the angle, that was a nightmare, and overall just cutting. The cost, it was decently expensive, but we did it ourselves, so that saved a lot of money. Would we do it again? Heck no, I would never put laminate in an RV again.
Well, this is something that came with the RV, and I thought it was really stupid, and we left it, and I'm really gonna miss it, so I just wanted to mention. It's this little shoe cubby, and it's a really nice thing to just come in, kick your shoes off, and leave them not scattered around the house. So I will miss that. If your RV comes with that and you think it's really gimmicky and dumb, just give it a shot, okay? Just give it a chance. Now, we can break this down, but I don't really need to, because it was already here.
Now we did get asked a lot about our surround trim and what we did to get rid of the old gaudy trim and why we didn't just leave it the way that it was. We didn't leave it because it was ugly the way that it was with the old trim and without the old trim. So we did not want to add a bunch of extra weight by adding real wood going around, although it would have looked nice. What we did was we found birch veneer, cut the strips, which is a project in and of itself, cutting strips. You wouldn't think cutting straight lines in wood is difficult, but that is a pain. And then I bought about 15 different stains until I found one that I really liked, and we stained this. This one actually is a mixture of 2 different stains, so don't ask me what it is. It's red ebony something or other. Yeah, that's what that is. I could have done a better trim, but let me tell you, this was probably day 30 something at least, and I was real sick of doing stuff. So we just got square pieces. However, the idea of using the trim is actually a really good idea. Difficulty factor, how good are you at cutting straight lines? So cost for this project, it is cheaper to buy the veneer than it is to buy the actual pieces of birch wood. And would I do it again? Yeah, I actually kind of liked them. I probably would spend more time on these because this is rather ugly. And I also wouldn't have been cheap and probably bought a real blade that would have cut these right, not cut off pieces, but that's neither here nor there. Moving on.
Something that was super disappointing to me about this RV was that the bed didn't lift, so we didn't get all of that delicious storage for Mama's clothes that she refuses to get rid of. So we had to come up with another idea for all of my extra things, and Keith built in, I guess you built it in, right?
Sure. I'll take credit.
Okay. Keith secured into the RV this
No, I built that.
Actually, I put it together. I put this together by myself, and then Keith secured it really well into the RV, and it added all of these delicious little drawers for my clothes. So it's good. This is a good addition. I'm happy with it.
How expensive was it?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was from Walmart. It was like 30 bucks. It was like 30 bucks. I could link it, but it was like 30 bucks. I think I had to buy these off of Amazon because I wanted a specific color. I will say it did break, as you can tell because of this. So it's not like the most secure situation, but
It's a good temporary solution.
yeah, it was a good temporary solution. I'm pleased with it. You can tell I'm pleased with it. So yeah, it was like 30 bucks.
How hard was it to put in?
Well, since you built it, Keith, maybe you should talk about it. No, it wasn't hard to install it, right? I put it together in an hour, and then Keith built a little platform below so that it's elevated, and then you screwed it to the wall, right? You screwed it?
Does it feel like it's screwed in there?
It feels
Give it a
like
good
it's
yank.
screwed. Give it a good yank?
Mm-hmm. Must be screwed in.
It must be screwed in. Wow.
Now for the bathroom, we did end up replacing the fiberglass shower surround and base. We did keep the surround and we painted it. And initially it looked good. However, we didn't do enough prep work, I think, and paint really started chipping off quickly. Overall cost for the shower was about $700 for the surround and the base. Now we did keep the enclosure. That kept our costs down there quite a bit. As far as difficulty, putting in the actual shower was super easy. Trying to rebuild the fiberglass door out here, drag it into this corner, that was a challenge. Hot tip on that. Don't put the shower in upside down the first time you install it. That helps a lot. Would I do it again? I think I'd just replace the whole thing. I think that would be easier than trying to rebuild the enclosure.
Now, for all of you fellow cat lovers that live in an RV, you can relate when I say, what the f do you do with the litter box? Now, we came up with a solution for that. We put our litter box in the storage bay. And fortunately for us, this whole dresser situation was already here. So it was a good way to hide the hole for them to drop down into. But the brilliant part about this is it was not inside of the RV, so we weren't smelling it, we weren't seeing it. The mess was minimal, their litter was never all over the house, and it was just the best option. As far as cost, it was a hole in the ground, a cat door, and then wood to just create the box down there so that they weren't dropping down into the storage bay and running amok on our things. Now, difficulty, was it difficult?
It wasn't very hard. Especially because you don't have to care what it looks like when it's down in the storage box. So, you just slap some wood together, and it worked.
Okay, so not difficult.
Would you do it again?
I would absolutely do it again. I'm going to miss this. In our new RV, we don't have this as an option. It's just not a possibility with the way that the storage bay and things are constructed. So I'm going to miss this. I now have to go back to seeing and smelling and knowing about the litter. So if this is an option for you, do this. Highly recommend. So that was it. That was the tour of our updates that we did to this RV, and I'd say overall we were pretty happy with everything that we did.
We're
Were.
no longer happy. We can no longer be happy ever.
Oh.
No, I'm actually happy. I think our new RV is great. Now our next video we will talk about what we learned from buying this one the first time, because we lived in it less than a year, and what were the important points of buying the new RV, and we just might show you the new RV.
Ooh.
So, thanks for watching. Come again some other time.